All right, what up? This is Jared.
It's Keels.
Back at it again with another episode of Bikini Bottom Banter. And this week, we had some good ones. We had a good one. All right. The Jellyfish Hunter and the Fry Cook Games. So, Jellyfish Hunter. So, Spongebob is doing his usual thing, jellyfishing. With that being said, when he jellyfishes, there's a jellyfish named No Name who is distinguished as a blue jellyfish. It's essentially like Moby Dick, I'd like to call it.
Yeah.
Hey, he's always tried to catch him. He's never been able to catch him. So this one afternoon, after jellyfishing, he works at the Krusty Krab, brings jelly to his lunch, which, note, Mr. Krabs, Keels. When Mr. Krabs was like, I'm going to my lunch, Mr. Krabs, you got 5 minutes.
Yo.
Wow, that's one more minute than yesterday. This man takes a 4-minute break?
Yo, 5 minutes?
That's insane.
Wow.
The labor laws at
you
the
remember
Krusty
back in Regal?
Regal, 30 minutes.
It would take 5 minutes to walk down to the thing.
Was it? Yeah, we had maybe it was I think was it 30 minutes or was it longer?
What, the break?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember now.
It was
30 minutes, but then they gave you a little bit of time to walk or get snacks. So there was a leeway time. So he had 38.
Like 30. No, not like 30. Like 35.
I took 38.
Yeah, sometimes I would slack off. Sometimes I would slack.
If the movie was good. But
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, in the midst of him having his lunch, Fred over here is looking at him chewing, he's smacking his lips having fun with this sandwich. And, Fred is like, hey, what do you have in there? It's a Krabby Patty with jellyfish jelly. Can I try some? Takes it.
That dude.
He went in. And at that point, Mr. Krabs, when all the customers are like, we're loving this, Mr. Krabs, just the light bulb in his head went off, and he's like, I can market this. So he put SpongeBob on a mission to hunt all the jellyfish so they can harvest the jelly, which leads back into No Name, because he's the one that they couldn't catch. The population said 0 Keels. It went from it went on the McDonald's status, serving 1 million or 1 billion or something, 0.
Yo, and it was fast forwarded. The factory was already built.
It's built in a 24-hour period.
It was elaborate too.
Mr. Krabs built this factory, did marketing, was painting it, did signs within not even an 8-hour period, an 8-hour workday.
Did the engineering, the science behind it.
For real.
He got a little vat for the jellyfish.
Even for when they die, it's just
oh, that's crazy.
To get rid of their bodies and everything, dang. Jeez. Terrible. So yeah, No Name is obviously pissed. So he hunts down SpongeBob and shows him this, which leads to Mr. Krabs find, the moral of his ways and just why you should not harvest jellyfish.
Yeah.
And No Name becomes a friend. So we'll get into it. So Keels, what was your favorite joke?
Let's see. When No Name figures out that all the jellyfish are gone, he calls Krabs, right?
No, he calls SpongeBob when he's just breathing on the phone. Michael Myers style,
That's hilarious.
Yo, when he cuts the cord, he's I guess Gary forgot to pay the electric bill. What's he doing paying the electric bill?
And then also, probably one of my most favorite joke from SpongeBob of all time, the jellyfish guy. Hey, all you people.
Yup.
Hey, all you people. Hey, all you people, won't you listen to me?
Yo.
That song is hilarious. And I think that's the meme worthy.
100%. I have it as my meme worthy and favorite joke. Please find me something in this. There's little jabs here and there.
Yeah.
When Mr. Krabs gets stung, maybe I feels like somebody wants to sell me something, and then the salesmen are behind the rock, like, I told you it was on to us. But does it beat Fred's song? No.
No.
I'm sorry.
Hey, man, you got to try this sandwich. It's no ordinary sandwich.
It's the tastiest sandwich in the sea. Yo, when he said, and where was Squidward in this?
Yeah, he wasn't in this. That's crazy.
See, and that's what I have as my thing. I have two things I would change. Where was Squidward? Where were you? Where at when you were supposed to be at the Krusty Krab? Where you when you were supposed to be? Where was Squidward in this? I don't know. He took a day off, I guess.
I guess so.
And then also, when SpongeBob's doing the traps, there was one trap where it was legit a net, but it had a closing. But I'm like, couldn't they just fly out, even if it's a transparent glass thing? It didn't look like it.
Yeah.
I just wish they did the trap. What would you change?
I don't think I was in anything. This was
Pretty solid.
Yeah, it was a cool episode. I wouldn't say anything.
All right, good stuff. But yeah, now, so any final thoughts before we move to the gold?
Nah.
No pun intended to the Olympics gold.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing.
All right, the Fry Cook Games. Now, I know if you followed us last season, we had our individual ones were our favorite episodes within this. This is potentially, at least in my top 5, the Fry Cook Games is Mr. Krabs and Plankton, set the history on it, are going up against each other during the Fry Cook Games. But this year, Mr. Krabs has Spongebob, but Patrick as a supporting friend comes in and is like, what are you doing? And he's like, it doesn't look like the Fry Cook Games is that hard, which leads to them having a feud. And Plankton recruiting Patrick within 5 minutes to work at the chum bucket. So it's Patrick versus SpongeBob in Olympic-style games, which the one-liners alone on this, the yellow, pink, that, the name-calling, Plankton's one-liners, we're just going to go into it. I have to.
Okay,
so,
go ahead.
From the jump, how it starts, with the dude lighting the torch, and then he gets set on fire, that was gold.
Yo, that was crazy.
But when they're even doing the flashback with Mr. Krabs, and how it's he won gold for lifting the pickles, and Plankton uses the hose to make it look like he peed himself while he's on there.
Yo, one of my favorite jokes was when Plankton was doing the pull-up with the broken
antenna.
Hilarious. He said, yeah.
Yo.
What are those called? They're just called the rings?
Yeah, the O-rings. Yeah. Well, yeah, in the Olympics, it's just
they are not called the O-rings.
No. All right. Well.
Whoa.
My bad.
Sorry. Bleep that one out, brother.
Rewind. But I do know that the onion rings, that's what he was swinging on. Yo. But when Mr. Krabs blew him off the thing, he was just like...
when Patrick and SpongeBob are, pitted against each other now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I forget what... Well, they were supposed to land over the vat of oil, right?
Oh, okay. So yeah,
yo,
SpongeBob does it successfully, but he does splat, and then when Patrick does it, he hits the oil into the audience.
He hits the handle, and all the hot oil flips into the crowd. Ooh, man, getting chills. Flips into the crowd,
yo,
and then they're all fish. And they all turned into fish sticks.
Yo, and the dude was on mark. Get your fish sticks here.
And I ain't gonna lie.
Yo.
They look delicious.
I haven't had fish sticks in the longest, too.
The ghetto when we misses them.
Man, that's a 90s snack right there.
It really is.
Don't
even know if it was real fish or not.
Nah, it's 100%. It was some imitation That's trout or something like it's trout. There you go.
It's crazy.
Put it on the box with the ingredients. It's trout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
trout.
You know,
Wow.
bluefish or something. This don't taste like no. It's Cajun style. Another funny thing when they're diving in for the ice cream dip, SpongeBob with the toasted almonds is like, but when Patrick goes in, the straight dip. And then it cuts to like a strawberry ice cream cone with a little chocolate thing.
Right,
but
perfect.
just look at that form. Like I'm like, oh my gosh.
That is a funny scene.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing. Like with episodes like this, it's hard to narrow down favorite joke. I can't think of it. Like because even like towards the end, like I could tell you meme worthy when they finally fight Dragon Ball Z style, when they get all buff and everything, you know, SpongeBob like takes a pencil and erases Patrick's name tag. Yeah. My name's not Rick. Meme worthy, but like it's hard.
Such a weird thing to be meme worthy too.
That's what I'm saying, but it works. Anybody named Rick out there, this is your meme.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. Plankton's one-liners, come on. Like, ladies and gentlemen, turn your attention to the audience. Other way, imbeciles. Like, oh my gosh.
Yo, the internet is so different.
Oh, than what it was?
Yeah, remember when it was just so simple? And all the stuff that was like quote unquote viral.
You think that was viral? The I'm not Rick. What do you mean?
No, I'm talking about like how when the internet first started.
Yeah. Like how
simple it was.
Okay.
Like how the how can I say?
Like Keyboard Cat, the Dance Kicking Baby, like those viral videos.
Yeah, exactly. How simple those virality moments were, and then how dumb this is. It's so different. How I don't know, and I'm rambling right now. I don't know what I'm talking about.
It's all right. I'll tie it back. I think I see what you mean. All right, so you're like how memes are able to just transcend into like generation upon generation.
Yes.
All right, I got you. I feel you. So. And yeah, like, it's crazy that a show like SpongeBob is able to generate so many memes, and that's what makes the bulk of the internet now.
And how different things are, like, funny now.
Yeah,
and like, considered hilarious.
See, and part of me feels like memes in a way, there are a lot in this one, but memes in a way, especially from SpongeBob, is a generational thing because whether you like it or not, we are the last generation that grew up without the internet. So I kind of see SpongeBob, especially nowadays, this generation. Crazy. No, but think about it. Like, the next generation after that, they grew up with the internet, but we were kind of like, our childhood was, okay, we grew up where we were still watching TVs, there was still that connective tissue, so that we could talk about these things, and people were limited
to sleepovers, playing video games.
Right, like the childhood memory thing, and now that we're adults...
outside.
And now that we're adults, I feel like these memes kind of carry over where, maybe somebody who is... I don't want to date ourselves, but let's just say that people in their early 30s versus people that are, tweens before they turn 18... might find that parallel thing where they see a SpongeBob meme and they're like, oh, I knew that because as a meme. Like, it's crazy that people watch the show now and they're like, I know that meme. But it's like we grew up, like, we know that episode. Well, so it's like, I get it.
Jeez.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously, like, at the end, Patrick and SpongeBob make up, but the crazy thing is they make up because SpongeBob wears pink underwear and Patrick wears yellow underwear, which, let me also note, he says, these were white when I bought them. So you pissed yourself and just...
That is disgusting.
I mean, it could be worse. It could be that they, make amends and become friends because their mother has the same first name.
So I got a question.
All right, let's hear it.
So, So, in that scene, their pants drop and they show their underwear, right?
Right.
In the later episodes, do they like show stuff like that still?
With the underwear?
Like underwears being shown and things like that, and like
SpongeBob has always had like the
raunchy jokes.
Yeah, like the raunchy joke, like the adult humor. Because even back in the day, like parents were like, "I don't want my kid watching SpongeBob." I won't shout anybody out, but I know a current grandma that still does not want their kid watching SpongeBob, no matter what, or their grandkid. So, with that being said, I just feel like the underwear jokes has always been like they've always made fun of like underwear jokes, butt jokes, things like that, where it's just like, I see it, but this was very in detail. Definitely with Patrick's. Yeah. Like, it was like, okay, Patrick's... I'm not trying to stare at Patrick's, but it's just like, why is it so protruding like that? It's just like... At the end of the day, I feel like SpongeBob also, going back to that generational talk, it was that rare Nickelodeon show where, like, you can take somebody who's like 5 or 6... and put it with somebody who's like 15, and they'll find something to laugh at. Yeah. So the fact that they have jokes like that, like we're gonna get into an episode where Squidward straight up makes a suicide joke, and I'm just like, real talk. Yeah, yeah. So it's just a kid that would go over a kid's head. So like even when it came to this, like Plankton even says something where I never really, like, when Mr. Krabs and them are going back and forth with, like, the charging at each other, they play the music, the trumpet. I love messing things up. Like, obviously to a kid it's like, ha ha ha, but it's like to somebody who's like really, it's like, wow, like he really messed up the rhythm with that. Yeah. What were you going to say?
Nothing. Like, it was just like, that kind of goes to what I was saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? How comedy is different.
Comedy is subjective.
Well, yeah. And then
very selective.
And then this long-running show has different styles of comedy throughout the years.
Yeah. And it's okay.
So interesting.
And that's the thing, like, SpongeBob made fun of the Olympics in this. Like, let's really keep that into consideration. Like, SpongeBob is so generational that it's like...
Yeah, that's funny.
You have that, but... I don't know, like, there's just, to this day, it's kind of cool. Like, I'll never forget this. Like, this is one moment where, like, years ago, I was a manager at a place, and I was trying to help a customer, and there were, like, kids that were, like, they had to have been, like, 14, 15, somewhere in that ballpark range. And I said to the one dude, like, oh, what's the issue with this? I was like, oh, I see what the issue is. You have it set to M for mini when it should be set to W for one bow, and they just... they just lost it. And I'm like, see, but they didn't grow up with that, but it's like, wow, like it's still, it passes on. Funny enough, the Fry Cook games, there are still jokes, again, my name's not Rick, like, and the yellow pink to this day are generational where they just kind of, they're stapled into SpongeBob meme culture. I mean, probably not as much as, like, the Patrick evil hands or the Patrick, like, looking up thing, or even, like, the hey look of, like, that SpongeBob gives. When Squidward likes the Krabby Patties, that episode? Yeah, but for sure it's up there. Yeah. Any final thoughts? And would you change anything?
No. Again, solid episode. Actually, no. I probably wouldn't show the underwear.
Yo, you were really... Yo, I have to tell you guys. So we're watching this. My daughter's right next to me. Keels was like, cover your eyes!
No need to see it. We don't need to see it.
Listen. Man. How... I mean...
So that's what I would change.
That's fair. Look at you being a good role model.
I'm grown up now.
Yo, look at you being a good role model.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly. I'm a grown up.
Watch, and then SpongeBob's gonna be like, let me sneak
right, that's like a joke. God.
Listen, nothing will still beat the episodes. Listen, all right, for any of you guys listening, go back and watch the Gary Takes a Bath episode. You want one of the most adult jokes in SpongeBob? Listen to that episode. Gary Takes a Bath. I'm telling you. I don't think it beats that. Any final thoughts?
Nah, I'm good.
All right. So that concludes another episode. I'm ready for next week. We have procrastination and I'm with stupid.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm hype. I'm too hype. You heard it here first, folks. Until next time, this is Jared.
This is Keels.
Another episode of Bikini Bottom Banter in the bag.
Thanks for tuning in to another fantastic episode of Bikini Bottom Banter. Don't forget to follow Bikini Bottom Banter on TikTok and Instagram for even more content. Subscribe to them on YouTube and Anchor, plus turn on bell notifications to be updated on their latest episode. And if you've got your own jellyfishing stories or favorite Spongebob moments, remember to share them with us. You might just hear them on our next episode. So until then, stay bubbly, keep smiling, and remember, subscribe to Bikini Bottom Banter to know all the under the sea.